70% of new parents feel crushed by unexpected financial burdens in their baby's first year. That's a staggering number, but it doesn't have to be your reality. Today, we're diving into the story of Sarah and Mark, a couple just like many of you who nearly let the immense joy of parenthood derail their finances. They were your typical young couple, married 5 years, both working in decent careers, enjoying their double income, no kids lifestyle. They had a modest emergency fund, dabbled in some retirement savings, but let's be honest, their financial planning mostly involved "we'll figure it out later." Then came the news. A baby was on the way. Pure joy, unadulterated excitement, and, as it turns out, the catalyst for a series of avoidable financial blunders that nearly derailed them. Their first mistake was falling prey to the new baby industrial complex. Instagram perfect nursery? Absolutely. The latest smart bassinet that rocks, shushes, and tracks sleep? Must have. Organic, hypoallergenic, limited edition stroller system that costs more than a used car? Swipe the card. They truly believed they were doing the best for their baby. In reality, they were setting themselves up for financial stress, confusing consumerism with necessity. They spent nearly $10,000 on initial baby gear, much of which was either unnecessary, quickly outgrown, or simply a fancier version of a cheaper, equally effective alternative. But here's a subtle financial trap many new parents fall into, often with devastating long-term consequences. Mark certainly did. The baby arrived, and with her, a tsunami of new expenses and a drastic reduction in free time. Sarah took a longer maternity leave, which meant a temporary cut to their household income. Mark, bless his heart, decided to defer his student loan payments. It seemed like a good idea at the time, more cash in hand now to deal with baby expenses. What he didn't realize, or didn't properly investigate, was that the interest on those unsubsidized loans would continue to accrue, adding thousands to his total repayment amount down the line. It was a classic case of kicking the can down the road, except the can was growing heavier with every passing month. This next part is crucial, and it's a silent killer of financial progress. This is where many new parents trip up. We see the immediate need, the temporary relief, and overlook the long-term consequences. Deferring loans without understanding the interest implications is a silent killer of financial progress. Imagine adding an extra $5,000 to $10,000 to your student loan balance just by hitting pause for a year or two. That's real money. Money that could have gone towards childcare, savings, or even just a decent night out, which they desperately needed. While they were kicking the can on student loans, Sarah and Mark completely missed a foundational safety net. This next mistake could have cost them everything. Their next major oversight was insurance, specifically life insurance and disability insurance. Before the baby, they figured their modest employer-provided policies were enough. After all, they were young, healthy, and immortal, right? It took a frightening incident, their baby spiking a high fever and needing an emergency room visit, for them to realize the terrifying vulnerability they had created for their child. What if something happened to one of them? Who would pay the mortgage? Who would cover their child's future expenses? Their existing policies wouldn't have even scratched the surface. Their emergency fund, which was once a healthy 6 months of expenses, had dwindled to barely 2 months after the initial baby spending spree and Sarah's reduced income. They were running on fumes, financially speaking. They were exhausted, stressed, and argument after argument began to chip away at their otherwise strong relationship. The financial pressure, often an invisible force, was now a palpable weight. One evening, after another tense conversation about dwindling bank accounts, Sarah broke down. They knew they couldn't continue like this. This was their problem-revealed moment. Their child deserved financially secure parents, not parents constantly battling financial anxiety. Their solution journey wasn't glamorous, it was gritty and intentional. They started with brutal honesty. They sat down, baby sleeping in the next room, and laid out every single income and expense. They were shocked. The combination of designer baby gear payments, accrued student loan interest, unexpected medical bills, and a complete lack of budget discipline meant they were bleeding money. First, they implemented a financial freeze. For 1 month, they stopped all non-essential spending. No fancy coffees, no takeout, no impulse online buys. They cooked every meal at home, used up existing supplies, and made do with what they had. This wasn't sustainable long term, but it was a crucial circuit breaker. After the freeze came the tough truth, understanding exactly where their money was going. This step, while unglamorous, is where true financial control begins. Second, they created a real budget, not a mental estimate, but a detailed category-by-category breakdown using a spreadsheet. They tracked every dollar. This revealed their grocery bill had nearly doubled, not just from baby food, but increased convenience purchases fueled by exhaustion. They found subscriptions they barely used. They identified where their money was actually going, not just where they thought it was going. This is the bedrock of financial control. You cannot manage what you do not measure. Third, they tackled the insurance gap. They researched and spoke to an independent insurance agent, not just relying on their employer's default options. They secured term life insurance policies that would realistically cover their child's upbringing, education, and the mortgage should either of them pass away. They also added disability insurance to protect their income if one of them became unable to work. For a few $100s a month, they bought invaluable peace of mind. It's not a fun purchase, but it's a non-negotiable one for new parents. Fourth, they revisited Mark's student loans. They contacted his loan servicer, consolidated where appropriate, and set up a realistic repayment plan, accepting the unfortunate reality of the accrued interest, but stopping the bleeding immediately. They even started making extra payments where they could, knowing that every dollar paid down faster was a dollar saved on interest. Finally, they started rebuilding their emergency fund, making it a non-negotiable line item in their budget. They committed to saving an amount equivalent to 6 months of essential living expenses. And once that was solid, they began to restart their retirement savings and even open a 529 plan for their daughter, starting with just $50 a month. Why $50? Because it was realistic, and consistency beats intensity when it comes to compounding. The lessons learned by Sarah and Mark are universal for new parents. 1. Prioritize needs over wants. That designer stroller won't make your child happier or healthier than a safe, reliable one at a quarter of the price. Understand the true cost of things and question every purchase. New parents spend, on average, over $12,000 in the first year alone, often on items that quickly become clutter. Be intentional. 2. Master your budget. If you don't know where your money goes, you can't control it. Create a realistic budget. Track your spending meticulously for a few months and adjust. This isn't about deprivation. It's about allocation based on your priorities. 3. Ensure your future. Life and disability insurance are not optional when you have dependents. They are foundational pillars of financial security. Don't rely solely on employer benefits. They're often insufficient. 4. Understand your debt. Student loan deferment can be a trap. Always understand the fine print, especially regarding interest accrual. Tackle high-interest debt aggressively. 5. Automate your savings. Pay yourself first. Set up automatic transfers to your emergency fund, retirement accounts, and college savings. Even small amounts, consistently saved, add up significantly thanks to the power of compound interest. A single dollar saved at age 25 is worth far more than a dollar saved at age 45. Here's your actionable takeaway, something you can do today. Sit down with your partner and review your last 3 months of bank statements. Circle every expense that wasn't absolutely essential. Now, discuss where that money could have gone to better secure your family's future. It's not about blame. It's about awareness and setting a new course. This video is for educational purposes only and does not constitute financial advice. Always consult a qualified financial advisor before making financial decisions. Don't let the immense joy of parenthood blind you to the financial realities. Be proactive, be intentional, and secure your family's financial future, starting now.